All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is June 23rd, 2025, and it was reported earlier that we're going to get a ceasefire, and everything was coming together, and I was going to come on and be conciliatory and say, I got this wrong, and, and that's still very possible. But I got to tell you right now, they're still really chucking missiles at each other. Nothing has stopped. Now, we do have one more hour until officially the ceasefire goes into effect. So I'm going to take you through all this stuff. I'm going to hope that I'm wrong and this isn't going to go into a big, war for years. And I was going to come and say, you know what, mea culpa, I got it wrong. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. You're the best. I'm the worst. I was going to totally come in and say all that. I was going to come in and just give some people some real just kind of mea culpa. I got it wrong, folks. But right now it's not looking. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to say it looks bad, but I'm not going to say it looks good. So we shall see. Gene, I don't know if World War III has been canceled. As the last post on this says, I'll take you to the end. I'll take you all the way to the end. Here you go. It looks more like a war than a ceasefire to me, and that is Amir Sarfati. I'll take you through it. I'm going to do all my conciliatory posts and everything else and say, you know what, I got it wrong. Trump played this thing like a master. Operation Midnight Hammer did the greatest thing ever. He brought peace through strength, and I'm going to roll that way. But right now, as Amir Sarfati says, like a war than a ceasefire. I hope I'm wrong, folks. I've said that since day one. I have not come here and said, I could give a crap about my channel, okay? Because it's not about my channel. It's about my kids' future. I got 3 of them. I hope this whole thing ends. I hope that I go on and just report on BS financials and stuff like that going on and the inevitable crushing of the dollar and getting my 800 to 1,000, views per day and all that kind of. I'm fine with it. I'm good. I'm good with it. But it's not looking. It's. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to take you through it. I got everything. I got before, I got during, and I got after. I'm going to take you through it. I'm going to do what we always do. I think if you see the long, if you see just, the long of all this thing, who is that? Saxon Riverstone. Thank you so much, brother. And thanks for your email the other day. I needed that as well. I get frustrated. People say you're misinformation or whatever, and you're lying. Like it makes me mad because I'm not here, folks, trying to like become some cool. I don't show my face for a reason. I could give a crap. I want good information, and I know most of you want good information, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I get everything. I go through, I look, I read because I'm looking for good information, and I just want to put it together. So I was like, what can I do with this channel? Because it was called Preparedness Now, and the channel was, just an offshoot backup channel to my main channel, PrepperNow, because back in the day when Rona was flaring up, if you said anything out of the ordinary and any of the official, approved narratives, you'd lose your channel. I have come this close multiple times to losing everything here. Because I don't like BS. I like to say it and call it as it is. So I said, let's turn this thing into a news channel, and we'll just go out. We'll get all the information, and we'll follow it where it goes, and we'll put it for everybody. And I'll just do it once a night, and I'll put it together. Be about a half hour long, so people during their day can strap on the earbuds and go out and garden and mow and play sports ball or make dinner, whatever, and listen to what's going on without all the crap, spin, and BS. And I'll keep doing it. But I will tell you this. The ceasefire that has been purported right now, it's teetering, and I hope it stays. I hope it does. I hope I wake up tomorrow and it's a victory lap by Trump and everything's going great, and I can say, you know what, I got it wrong, Mr. Trump. Thank you so much for doing what I voted for you to do, and that is to bring peace through strength, and I did, and I don't regret my vote whatsoever right now. But I'm also an American that's been alive since the 70s and seen numerous wars tap into our treasury and take, $37 trillion in debt. That's all I got to say. So let's go through it. 5 minutes in, here we are. This is your crisis report. Is this a ceasefire? Question mark. I don't know. Let's go through it. Trump takes on reporters for Iranian strikes. Says, quote, only the fake news would say anything different in order to try and demean as much as possible. And even when they say we're pretty well destroyed. Working especially hard on this falsehood is Allison Cooper of Fake News CNN, Dumb Brian L. Roberts, chairman of the Concast, Johnny Carl of ABC Fake News, and always the losers of, again, Concast, NBC Fake News. Quote, never ends with the sleazebags in the media, and that's why their ratings are at all-time lows. Zero credibility. On Saturday, Cooper cited officials who said the operation's main target, the Fordo nuclear facility, was not directly hit. The extent of the damage to Fordo, as well as sites at Isfahan and Natanz, was unclear as of Sunday, and it is. We don't know. I hope they're gone. I hope that the mission was accomplished, and I hope that our servicemen are never having to put in harm's way again, and we can just say, what a great... I hope it worked. I really do. I do. I don't want any Iranian, citizens to get hurt, but their sleazebag government, if they're doing bad, hurt. But, yeah, and I agree. These are sleazeball media. There's a reason why I'm here doing this right now. Our media sucks. Let's be honest. So... and the good news is we don't have to go to them anymore. We can move on. So, Trump announces Israel-Iran ceasefire, congratulates both sides, 12-day war. Vance says this could be a new dawn of an economic age of prosperity for Iran and the Middle East. Operation Midnight Hammer, new map and report, 125 plus aircraft, one guided missile sub, main strike package, 7 B-2 bombers, employed decoy, deception tactics, 75 precision-guided munitions, MOT, TLAM, and HARM targeted 3 Iranian nuclear sites, largest B-2 strike in U.S. history. Ben Shapiro praised President Trump for confronting what he called a true Hitlerian threat to the world in Iran and ignoring anti-war, quote, dolts on the right who oppose foreign intervention, and that would be me. I'm a dolt. Kind of tired of foreign intervention, but it is what it is. Maybe it worked. I hope it did. And Ben's right. Germany and Italy pressed to bring $245 billion of gold home from U.S. Oh, what's that? Yes, that's right. In the background, we still have all the craptasticness of the economy and everything else, which is why I want us to get out of wars. I want us to be able to focus on the home front and get things cleaned up, like all the millions of people that shouldn't be here, and get our money back in order and create jobs and, all the things we used to use in a political platform back in the day, because I'm old enough to remember those. Remember those antiquated things when, they come out and say, we're going to get you back to work, we're going to lower your taxes, we're going to make the environment better, we're going to, clean up the streets and put more policemen. Yeah, remember those? Remember that? I do. I remember them. So let's get back to that. Germany, Italy facing calls to move their gold out of New York following President Trump. Ark Living, good to see you, brother. Thanks for the last night coming on the show. If you haven't seen the 5 or 6 wise men of prepping, I don't even know if I just put that in there. I think out of all of them, I'm probably the least wise. Go check that out on PrepperNow. It's a discussion between about 6 of us. Ark Living's one of them. Modern Refugee, Prepper Dog, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, and Roaming Prepper. All kinds of stuff going on with the war and everything else, and we would love to have you watch that video. Good stuff. Fabio De Masi, former DeLink MEP who joined the left-wing populist BSW party, told the Financial Times there were strong arguments or Germany in turbulent times. Germany and Italy hold the world's second and third largest national gold reserves after the U.S., we hope, with reserves of 3,352 tons, 2,452 tons, respectively, according to World Gold Council data. Both rely heavily on the New York Federal Reserve, Manhattan, custodian, each storing more than a third of their bullion in the U.S. Between them and gold stored in the U.S. has a market value of more than $245 billion, according to FT. This is largely down to historic reasons, but also reflects New York's status as one of the world's most important trading hubs for gold, along with London. Yet Trump's erratic policymaking and White House are fueling a public debate about the issue in parts of Europe. The U.S. president said earlier this month he may have to force something if the U.S. central bank did not lower borrowing costs. So they're New York Times, Iran gave advance notice of Qatar base of the attacks to minimize casualties. West Texas Intermediate crude oil futures have tanked by $9 a barrel. They're about $65 right now. At least they were. And good. I hope they stay there. A bomb threat has been reported at President Javier Milei's official residence, Argentina, and their media outlets have confirmed that a bomb threat was issued against the Quinta de Olivos. Bomb squad is currently operating at the scene. According to the outlet Infobay, the alert was triggered by a phone call to a civil defense authorities in the municipality of Vicente Lopez, where the Presidente estate is located in Buenos Aires, province. Claro que sí. Former president of Russia, Medvedev, denies that the Kremlin will supply nuclear weapons to Iran. Good. Russia does not intend to supply nuclear weapons to Iran. Unlike Israel, Russia has signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. While Israel strikes Tehran, U.S. President Trump announces that Iran and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire. Set to begin approximately 6 hours. The conflict will come to a complete end in 12. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what could be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, and God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. I like that. Mixed reports from anonymous Iranian officials on the ceasefire. Anwaj Media reports confirm, while CNN contradicts. Iranian media has also denied the ceasefire, more or less as expected. And this goes back and forth. It was put out there. I actually waited at about 6:15, 6:30. I started getting word of this thing. And I thought, well, I don't know. And finally, about 7 o'clock, I said, okay, it looks like it. There's enough people saying yes in officialdom, and I'll do that. I don't want to put out information early just to be cool, So I kind of hold them. Like, oh, this looks like it might happen. Let's see what happens. We'll put it out when it's official. 7 o'clock, it kind of came out that it was official. U.S. population declares no desire for further military intervention in the Middle East. This is where my thinking was and where many people's thinking was. This is an Ipsos Reuters poll. It shows a strong majority of Americans want to avoid deeper military involvement in the Middle East conflicts. And I do. I don't want us to be there jacking with other people's stuff. I want us focused on only 36% supported further strikes in Iran, while nearly half opposed any escalation. Various voices like the Washington Post warn intervention risks, dragging the U.S. into another protracted war, repeating past mistakes in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's exactly what I was worried about. I think we all were. We've been there, we've done that, folks. We saw what Iraq happened. We saw what Afghanistan. Some of us are old enough to remember Vietnam and all the other crap. We've been in a lot of bad wars. We're tired of it. Even many Trump supporters, 53%, and overall voters, 60%, prefer diplomacy or sanctions over military strikes. New info has come out suggesting that Qatar mediated the ceasefire between Iran and Israel. Neither have confirmed its existence. It was still in the air at this time. Strikes hit a special forces barracks in Karaj. A bomb was hit the headquarters of the special police unit in the Madasht area of Karaj. Local sources reported hearing a loud explosion in the area. Israeli military spokesman declines to comment on Trump's ceasefire statement. This is what was going on all between about 6 and 8 o'clock, and even further. Senior Iranian officials confirmed to Reuters that Tehran has agreed to a Qatar-mediated U.S. proposed ceasefire with Israel. Yay, we're good, right? Well, we'll see. White House spokeswoman, this is Carolyn Leavitt. President Trump achieved what no other president in history could have imagined: the elimination of the Iranian regime's nuclear program and an unprecedented ceasefire between Israel and Iran. And at this point, when I read that, I was like, man, I'm pretty good with this. I like this. This is good. Give the man his due. He did the whole Pakistan-India thing. If he can get Iran and Israel to stop chucking missiles at each other, good. Great job. Barak Ravid, this is Axios. Following the strike on the U.S. base, Iran sent a message to the White House via Qatar stating that its response was over. The White House replied that there would be no military retaliation and that the U.S. is ready to resume nuclear talks. Subsequent discussions between the U.S. and Israel and between Qatar and Iran focused on finalizing the terms and timing of the ceasefire. Cool. I love it. This is great. We're going to have a ceasefire. They're going to stop fighting. People can go back to their daily lives, because that's the problem. All this stuff is cool, and it's, rockets, and yeah. They're hitting people's livelihoods. They're hitting buildings where people do their laundry, where kids play in their little toy sets in the living room and stuff like that. That's the problem. Most wars kill civilians dead. Most people that die are civilians. That's my problem with it. Diplomat briefed on Iran-Israel ceasefire told Fox President Trump spoke with Qatar's emir, informed the U.S. It got Israel to agree to a ceasefire with Iran. Awesome. President asked Qatar to help persuade Iran to do the same, following the Vice President Vance coordinated with Qatar's Prime Minister in the details. This effort proved successful, and following the discussions with the Qatari PM, Iranians agreed. Okay. Deal was coordinated at the highest level by the president and vice president and the Qatari emir and prime minister directly. If this thing goes south and it doesn't happen, I'm not going to blame Trump. I think he did as much as he could do. I do. I commend him. I think all things considered, if he can get this ceasefire to go, I think he did a good job. Summary of what happened last night. So you hear this whole thing, they come and they talk about this. This guy just kind of, this is Aussie Cossack. I just love it. I think he does. It's funny. He just breaks it down. Here's your summary. Iran launches missiles at U.S. targets, shuts down internet, says everyone's dead, we can stop. USA shoots down all missiles, says Iran has let off some steam, we can stop. Trump made peace between Iran and Israel, Nobel Peace Prize for me, baby. Israel, to be continued. We'll see. Now, Iran is the one that's chucking the missiles, for the record. So, Israel is going to stop, and Iran just did a head fake. We'll see. Supreme Court has ruled that President Trump can proceed with deporting criminal aliens to third-party countries. You mean getting illegal, shouldn't be here and committing crimes? Well, thank you, Supreme Court. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much. A bomb threat has been reported near the White House, prompting evacuation surrounding buildings. Axios confirms ceasefire between Iran and Israel. And this point, I was like, okay, this is real. Axios, they're like super officialdom. I think we're okay. After the attack on the American base, Iran conveyed a message to the White House via Qatar. It would not carry out further attacks. Response was over. White House responded to Iran with its own message, emphasizing it would not respond militarily to the Iranian attack and that the United States is ready to resume negotiations on nuclear agreement. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you for not responding. Thank you for saying, let's go to diplomacy. Great job. Talks then continued between the U.S. and Israel and between Qatar and Iran to agree on the terms of the ceasefire, the time in which it would begin, which is in about 43 minutes. Iranian source to Al Jazeera, the possibility of a ceasefire to end the Israeli aggression is on the table within hours. Halting Israel's aggression is the gateway to dialogue with Iran, West America, and are communicating with friendly countries. Okay, cool. If Israel's strikes continue after 3:30 time, Iran will consider the ceasefire voided. France 24. Getting a little worried. Israeli hit strikes Tehran now. Wait a second. I thought they're gonna. You guys gonna stop hitting each other, right? It's like when you have two people and you got the guy between. I used to bounce back in the day. I'm not small, and like you'd separate two guys and they'd like just keep trying to hit through you. I got popped once in the mouth that way, but they like trying to like hit him over your shoulder and stuff like that. What's doing? He's sitting there playing bouncer. He's got him separated, by putting his body in between. But the two jackasses keep trying to hit each other through him. Dozens of bunker-busting bombs are falling on Chitgar, district of Tehran. Wait a second. Ceasefire, right? Heavy airstrikes, Labazan, northern Tehran. Come on, guys, stop fighting. Israeli airstrikes reported in District 4, District 7 of Tehran. Semi-official Iranian state media Fars News reports that Trump's announcement about Iran agreeing to a ceasefire is completely false, that Iran will prove the fact on the ground soon. Rutro, Fars' officialdom. What's going on here? Middle East Spectator. Ceasefire has now allegedly gone into effect. All Israeli strikes have stopped. And at that point, I was like, okay, let's hold our breath. That's about like 10 o'clock. 9:30, 10 o'clock. Cool. 30 minutes into the alleged Iran-Israel ceasefire, civilian planes continue to avoid the Israeli-Syrian, Iraq-Iran airspace. I get it. Yeah, don't go there. Probably smart. WTI crude oil futures finished out Tuesday's trading session at $65 a barrel, down $13 from session highs. Awesome. Cheap gas, baby. Cheap gas, cheap food products, less inflation. I love it. U.S. Federal Reserve announced June 23rd that it will no longer factor reputation risk into its bank examinations. Reputation risk was often used to justify debanking political dissidents and critics in the United States and abroad. That's called canceling people and taking away their money, and we shouldn't do it. A free society shouldn't do it. If there's someone out there that you don't like, don't scream at them, don't call them names, provide them with a better political argument. Whatever it may be. Best way to do it. Preliminary analysis based on the events of the last 48 hours is that despite the U.S. strikes, muted Iranian response, and dubious announcements of a ceasefire, fundamental strategic situation between Israel, Iran, and the U.S. has not changed. Israel continues to seek regime change. Iran's nuclear program has apparently not been destroyed, and there is little hope that the United States can resume diplomacy. Iran's retaliation and their apparent decision not to withdraw from the NPT or close the Strait of Hormuz is de-escalatory. Trump has clearly preferred a 60-day timetable and the 12-day war. Israel cannot survive a sustained conflict of this nature with Iran, which means they will have to escalate their tactics or sue for a temporary ceasefire. Earlier today, Washington Post reported the IRGC commanders received a 12-hour ultimatum from Mossad to oppose to Iranian regime or have their families killed. Israel is carrying out the most intense strikes since the war started as we speak, and that is true. And they were taking out important people. They took out a scientist. Is this the one last blow before the short reprieve or a last-minute sucker punch to provoke Iran into reneging on the ceasefire, assuming there was such an agreement? Israel's attack on Iran galvanized the public against the West and rallied them to the regime. Are the IRGC hits and ceasefire a gambit to leave room for an organic uprising to breathe? There are still conflicting reports on the ceasefire, and why would Iran trust the U.S. and Israel after they broke similar agreements with Hamas and Hezbollah and after the surprise attacks by Israel and the U.S.? The fog of war remains, much to consider, but the fact remains that the forces that drove these hostilities remain unchanged and have probably intensified. That is Middle East Spectator. He is pro-Iranian. Pretty sure he's a professor at a university over in Egypt, if I remember correctly. Smart guy. And I think he's got a lot of things that people should take into consideration here. Now, this is a guy that I put on to my Subscribe star who emails me in the background. We used to chat. He was a subscriber on my Subscribe star, and he kind of went away for a while, but a really thoughtful guy. And he comes with a little glimmer of hope. So let's pretend that all this does go and the ceasefire happens. This is Catholic Prepper. I enjoy his writings. He does like a little, email thing to people that he cares about, and he sends me, and I'm included. And I'm very thankful to be, because I like what he has to say, and he's got an element of hope. Well, it didn't take long. We're now in the week after Trump ordered midnight hammer execution. It looks like the mission was accomplished. Aerial photos clearly show impact locations, apparent collapse of underground structures. Psychological aftermath will be more devastating for Iran. Thoroughly impressed with the execution. Only account media I saw that called it has been calling it every day since Israel started hostilities with Iran. He's a broken clock, so I don't know anything. So I know he didn't know anything. Operational security was outstanding, creating a sense of complete shock around the world that it was pulled off. This is what you get with serious people in charge. Demonstrated consequence for leaking, and people thought Pete Hegseth was a bad choice for Secretary of Defense. Operational control here demonstrated his impact on the culture of the military. Very insightful. I would agree. Other thing just impressive is that there appears to have been staunch disagreement amongst our leaders about taking the step. Yet, no one leaked it or is playing Monday morning quarterback today. They felt comfortable letting their voice heard, but locked in once a decision was made. This is what we want, and it is. We hired them to speak up, and they did, but we also hired them not to embarrass us through pettiness. Now, that I would question with some of the things that go and get said and all that, the Elon Trump thing, but it is what it is. This is an amazing feat that speaks to the character and leadership qualities Trump possesses. We do not want to diminish it. I am more confident today that Trump will get feedback, assess it, and decide with the typical pros, cons a CEO operates with. Now, what is the result of this action? Well, Israel has neutered Iran's Air Force. IRGC keeps losing its head, and their Navy is hoping for the order to close the straits never comes. If the hardliners keep pushing and not sue for peace by giving up all nuclear ambition, I suspect we are entering an extracted air war. Israel and the U.S. will slowly pick apart Iranian forces and leaders until they decide enough is enough. All they have now are missiles and terror. They lose launching capability with every barrage. This is all true. You can have 20,000 plus missiles, but they do little if you cannot fuel or launch them. The terror side is concerning, but is likely diminished because of a response to 10-7 and improving intelligence now that these organizations can refocus on their mission versus doing things like DEI. I love it. Great stuff. We'll know in the next few weeks if this is a real concern. My hope is that this is the beginning of the end of mistakes made by Jimmy Carter in Iran becomes what it was, or better. I have limited desire to see Europe. I was just there. It's pretty cool. But getting a chance to see the mountains of Tehran is one of my most unlikely bucket lists. In a few weeks, months break that way, it could become possible. Awesome stuff. And I hope he's right. So, from there, we go to Nick Fentus. He's your MAGA, but not MAGA, right? He broke with all this. He's one of the main people, but he's got a counterpoint here. So when Iran agreed to the ceasefire and did Israel win? In the opening strike, due to the combination of widespread internal sabotage and extensive... Wait a second. I got that wrong. Is this Middle East Spectator? Yeah, this guy before Catholic Prepper that did this one, that was Nick Fuentes, okay? This is Middle East Spectator. This is the Egyptian professor. I know, I'm getting nerdy and all that, and I know, I just sit up here and, we're gonna bomb, we're gonna die, we all gonna die, we all gonna... No, I'm not gonna do that. We go... Sorry. In the opening strike, due to the combination of wide internal sabotage and extensive Israeli strikes, most of Iran's long medium-range air defenses were wiped out. Since day 2 or 3 of the war, the Israelis have operated with almost complete freedom over Iran's skies in the west. Then gradually expanding to the center, we saw even UAVs operating quite freely. At the same point, a telltale sign something is truly wrong. This matter of air superiority is key to understanding the missile situation. While Iran still has tens of thousands of ballistic missiles and hundreds of launchers, that's not the issue at all. The issue is, due to total Israeli air superiority, no large-scale missile attack could be staged without receiving an immediate preemptive strike from the enemy. The moment Iran takes the launchers out of the ground base, Israel detects this, strikes with impunity. He's right. He's absolutely correct. Forced Iran to carry out missile operations with smaller hit-and-run tactics using older long-range missiles from bases in the center and the east, and unfortunately, Iran's capability to respond in large volumes gradually declined. In these circumstances, realistically, a war cannot be maintained. Since the first few days, real deterrence was already gone, despite some periodic strikes on less than relevant targets, with the notable exception of Weizmann Institute and Unit 8200 Logistics HQ. Launching 10 to 20 missiles a day would be a waste if it is not an instrument of a wider military objective. Militarily speaking, Israel is the clear winner. There is no sugarcoating this. However, politically, Israel lost. Israelis did not achieve most of their main objectives. The Islamic Republic still stands. Iran's nuclear program still has a future, and martyred commanders have been replaced. Israel's main achievement in this war is the near-complete dismantlement of Iranian air defense sites, and as a result, the successful suppression of large-scale missile fire from Iran. This forces Iran into a corner as it was no longer able to keep up with the escalation. He's right. Problem now is the following. Israel will use the ceasefire to rearm itself. It will prepare for another war, more aggression, and to gradually achieve the goal they really wanted in the first place, regime change in Iran. It is also likely that they will try to implement the Lebanon model in Iran and strike targets inside Iran during the ceasefire with relative impunity and no response. How will Iran deal with this issue? Iran also has to rebuild its capabilities. Once again, missiles and launchers are not the issue. Iran will repair the collapsed tunnel entrances of missile bases in the west, and all bases, with the exception of Tabriz, will become operational. But then what? Air defense network is gone. Same situation will instantly repeat itself. Iran somehow has to find a way to guarantee that this ceasefire is not one-sided and that it rebuilds its capabilities and it finds a solution that guarantees its own survival and prevents any new Israeli aggression. In my opinion, the only way this can be done is rushing nuclear bomb. Nothing more and nothing less. Guy is spot on. I don't like what he has to say. Some of the things I disagree with, because I think Iran is going to do exactly what he said. You know, he's going through the part where he's talking about using the time to rearm. Well, that's exactly what Iran's going to do. And that's the problem. Underneath all of this stuff, under it all, both sides are going to come back for each other again. Might not be this year, might not even be in a few years. But this isn't done. So after all that wonkiness and everything, thank you for suffering through that. I know I like to get nerdy, and you know we like to carry ourselves a little bit more highfalutin and brainiac-y. This is where things started to get worrisome, and I don't know if the ceasefire is going to actually hold. Prior to the ceasefire, Israel had managed to take out top Iranian nuclear scientist Mohammad Reza Sadeghi. Another Iranian rocket attack reported. Multiple documented interceptions in Tel Aviv, central Israel. This is like 11 p.m. or like 10:45 p.m. As of now, one ballistic missile impact reported in Haifa, northern Israel. Red alerts in central Israel, cities near Gaza. Now, at first they're like, oh, the Houthis are acting up. Oh, those stupid Houthis. And then he said, wait a second, no, calls coming from inside the house. It's not the Houthis, it's Iran again. To clarify, the ceasefire will come into effect at 12 a.m. Eastern, as Axios reports. Multiple impacts reported in Negev and Dimona nuclear facility. They're trying to strike the Dimona nuclear. How do you think Israel's going to do with that? Scenes from Beersheba, southern Israel, likely Iranian missile impact. The MDA has reported a direct hit on a 7-story missile building in Israel. And then Amir Sarfati gets the last word. It looks more like a war than a ceasefire to me. So you tell me, folks, where are we going? Do you think where this ceasefire is going to hold? Put a 1 in. If you think this ceasefire is going to be broken down within the next 48 hours, put a 2 in. Let's see what you guys think. Your pen, brother. I like what you had to say. A lot of 2s there. So. What's cooking in my kitchen? I agree. That's why I'm anti-war. It's not because I know we gotta have war sometimes. We gotta make sure it's like owning a weapon, folks. Nobody wants to go use that weapon, but you have it in case you need it. So I hope the civilians of both sides, the Israelis and the Iranians, I do. I hope they find peace. I hope they can go back to their day-to-day lives. Most people just want to take their kids to school, enjoy their family and their friends, have a nice meal with each other, and just live their daily lives. That's how most people are. And I'm sure most of you that's that way too. And they don't want missiles being chucked in their general direction and worried about their kids and having to go to bomb shelters and waking up and hearing about someone they know that was affected. Nobody wants that. So let's end this broadcast with about 30 seconds of silence, soft reflection, and prayer for all the people affected that are not of the military or anything like that. And just say a moment, or just sit here for a moment and just think of them, keep them on our thoughts, and pray to whoever you pray to. My Lord and Savior is the Lord Jesus Christ. So I'm going to pray to Jesus Christ that the Iranians and the Israeli people can hopefully escape the terrors of war. Thank you all very much for doing that. I noticed that the chat stopped when you did that, so I know you guys all respected it. We don't do these reports because we're trying to get clicks or become popular or anything like that. I want to expand knowledge. I want to make people hopefully understand what's going on so we can have a better world. Why? Because I got a few kids. I got a beautiful wife, and I'm just a lucky guy, and I just want everything to go well. I want our future to be bright. So that's how we operate here, folks, okay? All the people that say otherwise, well, whatever. You don't have to be here. God bless you all, folks. I mean it. Thanks so much for having that moment with me. Thanks so much for being here. Let's hope the ceasefire holds. Let's pray for that, and let's just hope that this war ends, okay? Because it's not going to go to a good way if it keeps going. This is a critical moment. Friends, got links in the description. Try out the Substack. Join us elsewhere, and I appreciate you being here. God bless.